grandson turned 21 this week, and he went to the casino and put $20 in the machine, won $541.
And then did he cash out and leave?
Yes, he cashed out and left.
That's
I
right.
would've
He said,
ran.
I got a car payment.
All right.
At least he was smart about it.
He was smart. Although my,
bet, tell
my
it's gone.
daughter probably said something.
That's right. Whoa, I'm really in there tonight.
Yes, you are.
Holy smokes, what is going on? We are really in there tonight. Oh, it's because there's nobody else on the meeting.
Oh.
I bet that's why. All right.
If you had a mustache, you could go.
So, all right, here we go. It's 6:30. Go ahead and hit
Is the
record.
room clear?
Record on this computer.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, I should probably get a second for it to catch up. Good evening, everybody. It is 6:30 p.m. This is Monday, March 20th, 2023. We will be going into an executive session for the City Council of Woodland under RCW 42.30.110, Section 1, Subsection I, potential litigation. The time is 6:30, and we will be in executive session until 6:50. All right. I think I did that right. And pause.
Recording stopped.
There we go. Perfect. All right. It did say
It did say, it, yeah.
Okay.
Mine real quick.
7 o'clock.
6:59.
6:59. All right.
Make any money, I mean, I got social security and my retirement.
Yeah, she's back there.
Yeah.
I need a horn. and a call button for when I fall. Oh, I don't have my. Are we ready? All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here this evening. It is Monday, March 20th, 2023. I almost said 1998. I don't know why. I'm really trying to take us back here. 2023. Please ensure that your cell phones are silenced and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have roll next, first? Yeah. Okay. I want to take that roll, please.
All right. Councilmember Rounds,
Here.
Councilmember Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Holland,
Present.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye, present.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Here.
Councilmember Hall,
Here.
Councilmember Alderman.
Here.
All right. I don't have my thing in front of me here. Mr. Alderman
Presentations.
next. What's that?
Presentations. Yeah,
Okay,
Alderman's
Mr. Alderman,
next.
come on down. Earlier this evening, because we did have an executive session, I did quickly sign Mr. Alderman in, but at this time we will do it in front of the crowd. Is your wife here? You want to come up? Come on up. Come on up. Oh, yep. I was like, thank you very much. There we go. You're getting married again. And I'm going to try to keep my scooter out of the way. I try not to get in the photos. Earlier this morning, I swore in a new officer, and I had to hide behind this. And he's like, what are you doing? I don't want you to see my scooter. All right. Welcome. Thank you for going through the application process. It's not easy to put your name out there and govern because it does take a lot of energy and it takes a lot of work. You are one voice on a panel now, and we are happy to have you with us. At this time, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Aaron Alderman,
I, Aaron Alderman,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I am a citizen of the United States
that I'm a citizen of the United States
and state of Washington,
and the state of Washington,
that I am legally qualified
that I'm legally qualified
to assume the office
to assume the office
of City Council Position 4,
of City Council Position 4,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
the state of Washington,
the state of Washington,
and the city of Woodland,
and the city of Woodland,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of this office
of this office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Welcome. I hope you know what you're doing. Welcome aboard. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, just not the scooter. All three of us. Come on now. Hold on. Let me see if I can hop over. Here we go. Here we go. Just go high. Go high. There we go.
You just want to hold that?
I do. All right. Thank you very much. I forgot your gift with purchase. I'll hand it to you back here. So our lovely City of Woodland pin, please wear it proudly. There you go. We have one more presentation this evening, and it is Fair Housing Month for April. We do this proclamation every year, and this is the first year that we have somebody here to collect it from us, so we're very excited. Miss Tiffany, would you join me up here? I know you're excited about that. on this side, on this side. I know you're trying to hide. You're trying to hide. Don't try to hide. Yes. We appreciate you being here and taking this from us, and then once I'm done, I'll turn it over to you for a few moments, okay? All right, Fair Housing Month, April 2023. Whereas on April 11th, 1968, the Fair Housing Act was enacted into law, recognizing that no American should have their right to purchase or rent shelter or choice abridged because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. whereas the City of Woodland is committed to this mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, and whereas equality of opportunity for all this is a fundamental policy of this nation and our state and our community. And whereas the location that people live has a direct impact on the quality of their health, education, and access to economic opportunities. And whereas discriminatory housing practices create racial and economic segregation in communities that can lead to desperate outcomes and overall quality of life. And whereas the City of Woodland believes that access to fair housing laws have made our communities stronger and more vibrant in Washington state. And whereas we are committed to programs that will help educate the public about the right to equal housing in the state of Washington. And whereas we are committed to promoting housing choices and fostering inclusive communities free from housing discrimination. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Woodland celebrate and proclaim the month of April 2023 as Fair Housing Month, and thank the many people in our communities who aspire to open the doors of opportunity of housing to all people free from discrimination. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let me get out of the way. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mayor Finn. And thank you to the council members and staff. For the record, my name is Tiffany Ann Witten. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Premier Group and the member of Government Affairs of the Lower Columbia Association of Realtors, representing realtors, affiliates, homeowners in Cowlitz County, Wahkiakum, and Pacific counties. Thank you for your Fair Housing Proclamation, and I'm glad to be here to take it. So April is Fair Housing Month, commemorating the bedrock of civil rights and principles that we all deserve the opportunity to choose a home and neighborhood free of discrimination. That means that each of us, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, familial status, and disability, have access to neighborhoods of the opportunity where our children can attend quality schools. Our environment allows us to be healthy, and economic opportunities and self-sufficiency can grow. I believe in safe, secure, and sanity living conditions within our means should be available to all citizens, no matter what your status is. Fair housing is more than a list of do's and don'ts, rights and penalties, and mandatory continuing education. As a steward of these rights to our own use and transfer private property, fair housing protects our livelihood and businesses as realtors and depends on free, open market that embrace equal opportunity for all. Realtors recognize the significance of Fair Housing Act and reconfirm their commitment to upholding fair housing laws, as well as their commitment to offering equal professional services to all in their search for real property. Fair Housing Month reminds us that the principle of fair housing is not only state and national law, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all people. As a community, we welcome all good neighbors, recognizing the contributions and richnesses tended to by a wide variety of people from diverse backgrounds, colors, ethnicities, or religion traditions. Fair housing is an integral part of building strong, vibrant communities. Thank you, Mayor and Council members, for proclamating April Fair Housing Month of the City of Woodland.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me see those papers real quick.
Those are yours.
Thank you for coming out to collect that. I
Yes,
appreciate you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. We're just take a short intermission real quick. While I Did you see Travis push one? Did you see that? Travis just came out and pushed one.
I like Travis, so no.
You like Travis so much? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Where's my agenda now? Did I lose it?
You can have mine. if you
Oh,
don't
I have it. There it
Okay.
is. Okay. Moving on this evening, to citizen communications for items not on the agenda. We have a few folks signed up, and we will start with, is it Whale or Wall? Whale. Mr. Whale. I'll have you step forward, please. I'll provide you 5 minutes.
I'll keep it quicker than that. So
Okay.
my name is Brady Whale. I have lived in the community for about 15 years, just to give you a little background. I've worked at, probably closer to 20 years. I've worked at Columbia River Carbonates for about the last 13 or 14 years and have done many projects through the city. I'm proposing tonight to try to make a small modification to the fire code as an amendment to the Woodland Fire Code that's on top of the state fire code. Over the years, going,
you drop this
yes,
for us this evening?
yes, you
Okay.
guys each have a copy of this here. Over the years, going back into 1986, as Columbia River Carbonates has built, if you're not familiar with what we do, we basically grind limestone and make a bunch of products out of it. Industrial facility, we're the White Rock folks here in town. The big picture is, going back to 86, Woodland has had on their books this requirement of every building over 5,000 square foot gets sprinkled. Over the years, with every project, we have asked for and been granted exception to that because, well, buildings are made out of concrete and steel, and we're processing a mineral that is actually used in firefighting, you can imagine. So most of our facility is not. We do have some fire sprinklers where it makes sense, office space, stuff like that. Most recently, I worked with Travis Goddard and got exemption on all of our building projects up to this date, and we have a new one going right now. And rather than have to fight the process of getting an exemption with each one, we would just like to propose that we modify the fire code such that it would make this a non-issue in the future for our type of building construction and occupancy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any other information. Talked with the building department, and I was speaking with Travis beforehand. In general, he agrees with this. I think I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but it makes sense, and it's something that if we were building just outside of the city limits with the marine terminal I'm building, this wouldn't apply. This is something specific that Woodland has applied on top of the state building code.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. We'll take this in, and I'll have a chat this week
Perfect.
about it. Okay. Thank you for coming out, sir. And I agree. You're one of our premier businesses in town, so I appreciate you coming tonight and letting us know that anything we can do to help. All right. Mrs. Boisher. For once, I'm not forcing you to speak this evening. Yes. You're volunteering.
I know,
I'm
as hard as it is to believe.
now.
I'm only volunteering because I want to make sure that everybody understands the possible severity of this issue. So I'm sure Mr. Goddard has briefed you all on the Cardai Hill rock quarry request for a surface mining overlay on 46 acres of a 76-acre parcel on the corner of Cardai Hill and Northwest 402nd in the Clark County side of Woodland. I was very excited to see that Mr. Goddard has already written a letter with his concerns. What I want to make sure is that everyone is aware this isn't just a Clark County side of Woodland issue. This is going to impact all of Woodland. According to the North Fork Neighborhood Association, the quarry would be approximately 700 feet from the Lewis River and less than 1,500 feet from the city limits of Woodland. That may actually be closer to some on the Cowlitz side than on the Clark side. A Columbian article on 16 December 2022 stated the Clark County Planning Commission voted 3-2 against recommending the overlay. With that close of a vote, we need to make sure that the Clark County Commissioners know how this will adversely impact Woodland. According to the Clark County Planner, the traffic impact analysis done by staff and the quarry's consultant found the existing transportation system is able to accommodate the proposed change. How is that possible? When
I'm shaking my head in agreement. Just so you know. Go ahead.
Robert Vander Zanden, the City of Woodland Public Works Director, back in June of 1998, wrote a letter in opposition to the rock quarry when they attempted it back then. I'd like to read an excerpt from that. The heavy truck traffic necessary to support mining activities on this site will impact the street system in the city of Woodland near the State Route 503 interchange on Interstate 5. The materials submitted with the environmental checklist described an estimated minimum of 8 million cubic yards of extractable material to be mined over a lifespan of 20 years, which would be extracted at an annual rate of 400,000 cubic yards. This estimates supplies enough information to infer a general level of transportation impact based upon the number of daily truck trips required to transfer 400,000 cubic yards of material annually. Past surface mining project applications on file provide enough specific information to allow an estimate of the number of truckloads required to haul this amount of rock. His calculations suggested that the intended surface mine would generate 34 to 40 truckloads each working day, which translates to 68 to 80 total daily truck trips to the site. His guesstimates were pretty close. I found in their application it actually states 82 truck trips per day. So now we've got 82 more trucks in the worst part of town. I know that some of you lived in Woodland back in 1998, and the traffic definitely hasn't gotten better since then. And I definitely won't belabor the traffic issues because you've all heard it before and you live it every day. Commissioner Halbert stated in that Columbian article that the overlay needs to be approved before the concerns can be addressed. I think the process is that the overlay needs to be put in place. These are his words. The overlay needs to be put in place and then they can get the plan put together. Let me say that again. I think the process is that the overlay needs to be put in place and then get the plan put together. The application was written as a non-project action, so none of the potential adverse impacts needed to be addressed. I built a home on Clark County in Woodland 2 years ago, and the county did not give me a permit and then allow me to do the geotechnical study, the stormwater study, anything to prove that I was not adversely impacting the seasonal stream on my property that runs into the Lewis River. I had to prove those things were accounted for prior to a permit. Why would this be any different? Why should it be? They don't have to prove that the water runoff will not impact the seasonal stream on their property or flow to the Lewis River. They don't have to provide a study on the blasting impacts on the natural gas pipeline or the water line that goes across the Cowlitz to Clarkside in Woodland. They don't have to prove the noise would not impact all of Woodland. How many of you have heard the tulip cannons, the foghorns on the Columbia River, or the train horn miles away? Tell me that blasting will not be heard all over Woodland in both counties. According to the preliminary land use review development application, it says the quarry will have a minimum of 260 work days per year. This means we'll get peace and quiet for 105 days each year. North Fork Elementary is about a mile away as the crow flies from the proposed quarry. Will the noise impact learning? Who knows, because they don't have to provide that it wouldn't. Another issue is fly rocks. In research, I needed to find out, is a rock quarry a good or bad thing? Let's see what others have found. I found an article that's titled The Impact of Blast Quarries and the Need for Adequate Setbacks, dated 17 November 2020. It stated that fly rocks can be generated. Even the best designed blast can never completely eliminate, and it's a potential hazard anytime and anywhere there's blasting. It stated instances where fly rocks flew up to a half a mile away. Why is this concern not being addressed? What about the adverse effects to the water table and water supply? Many wells on the Clark County side of Woodland already have high levels of arsenic or low flow problems. How will the quarry impact that? Who knows? What about the dust and air quality? We know the weather. We've all lived through the fire. The smoke just stayed here. Once again, it's all a big unknown. They haven't had to look into that. If Clark County Commissioners would actually make the Cardai Hill Rock Quarry do their due diligence before approving the surface mining overlay, maybe we'd have some definitive answers. I think we already know the answers to many of these questions. That's why they weren't answered by the rock quarry applicant back in 1998, now, or in the past 20 plus years. I'm hopeful that if the council has not yet written the Clark County Commissioners a letter of concern, I beg you do that as soon as possible. Thank you.
I will tell you, we've been very vocal and stand with you and not allowing this operation to continue. In fact, we are currently in a draft position to letter position for the Cowlitz County Commissioners to hopefully get them involved, because this is going to impact a lot of their citizens, which includes us, the city of Woodland. So in order for that to happen, hopefully that pressure will, from our other electeds from this county, will help push that message a little bit further to stop it from happening. Yes. All right. Thank you. Mrs. Butler. Good evening.
Good evening. Just to piggyback on that, today I was at the exit 21 behind a dual trailer rock truck, and I'm thinking of the quarry, and I read the sign on the back, and it says, "Stay back 200 feet, not liable for broken windshields." And I thought, okay, so how far is 200 feet? What's that? Anyway, that was just interesting. So what I would like to address tonight is a question that was asked at the last meeting, and the question was asked in concern of the proclaimed housing crisis and Woodland's residential growth, which is an issue that you're all considering. The question was, how many building permits were issued last year? So I thought about that a little bit, and I just wondered if maybe the better question to ask would be, how many residences were permitted? Because I believe one permit is all you need to do an apartment complex. 170, 30, 50, whatever. Anyway, that could change the way it looks and feels as far as what Woodland, how Woodland is growing in residences. That's all. Just a
Thank you, Mrs. Butler. Dan? What's that? Nunez, yes.
All right. Good evening. I wanted to share with you all the letter I recently wrote to the Clark County Commissioners. Forgive the redundancy, Lisa captured it very well. My name is Dan Nunez, a resident of Clark County in Woodland, Washington. I intend to maintain brevity to respect your time. I only introduce my background to establish my qualifications of the following statements. I am by no means writing on behalf of the organizations I am a part of. I currently manage 4,000 square miles of wildfire risk in Oregon as a wildfire planning manager. I am also the chair of the International Wildfire Risk Mitigation Consortium, RISC Committee, which includes North, South America, and Australia. I'm writing to inform you the proposed expansion of the SMO rock quarry in Woodland, Cardi Hill, would directly, at the very high probability, increase the wildfire exposure to Clark County, including La Center, Woodland, Ridgefield, and Kalama. The last 2 years, that area's burn probability for a 300-acre fire reached between high to extreme likelihood of ignition. Both of my meteorologists are predicting the El Nino pattern emerging in the late summer 2023 will bring only increased drought conditions. Less than 2 years ago, a surface mining operation burned 639 acres in Colorado, dated 6/16/21. Cause was the mining operation itself. If you examine the Washington DNR high fire risk area established in 2012, you'll see the proposed quarry is in the current high delineation of the watershed. Link to the study. Note this study was done in 2012. As someone who manages and has managed investment portfolios of over $1 billion in capital for federal and private assets, this historical view is incredibly optimistic. Current climate evidence suggests between over 500 and 900% increase in land area burned between the Pacific Northwest between 2030 and 2040. There are many reasons this expansion in quarry altogether should not move forward, and those include by no exhaustive means. Air quality, environmental, Lewis River, landslides, water table, and quality. Arsenic poisonings upland from large ground disturbing activities, no less than 1 mile from the proposed rock quarry. Impact to species, including any protected and endangered species in the Lewis River, is also high. Noise and light pollution. The noise is weather dependent, but on the right condition, homeowners that would not be outside the blasting operation noises could expect to see decibel levels ranging between 3 to 5 miles radius. That means La Center folks and Cowlitz County folks will also be impacted. Traffic density, the I-5 exit 21 interchange is already over capacity. The bridge to and from Hayes Road that would be used to deliver the rock would bring Woodland to all those leaving town to a complete halt. I beg the commission recognize the value proposition of this expansion proposal has an extreme negative risk beneficiency for Clark County and Woodland. The exposure in both direct and indirect dollars to revenue, taxes are off by orders of magnitude compared to the risk. Please do everything you can to not allow this to move forward. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming out. Mr. Goddard, did we get the website up and going for folks to get information? So those of you that are here that don't know, we did put a link on our website that you can go and get more information regarding the project that was just discussed, the Cartay Hill mine operation. And are they able to leave comments there yet?
They are not.
Okay, so, but there is information that is on there, so we will try to keep that updated, and we stand with you. I can't say that enough. Mr. Belial.
Yes, I'm here representing Planners Days. Planners Days this year, June 15th through the 18th. If you would like to come and attend a meeting, we have our meeting tomorrow at the VFW at 6 o'clock. And usually I'll last about an hour, and we're going to start getting into the meat and the potatoes of all of the little events that happen during Planters Days tomorrow. We've submitted our applications and ready to rock and roll. If anybody'd like to donate prizes or be part of a sponsorship, come and see me. Thank you.
Well, the ladies were here at last meeting, which is nice. You've got a great group.
Yes, we have our new 3 princesses, Princess Ellie, Princess Taylor, and Princess Brooke. And then they're selling tickets too. So watch for your opportunities to get those tickets.
I'll owe you $10, I forgot. Thank you, Mr. Belial. When can we expect a theme and artwork to come forward? Oh, is it already done? Sorry, go ahead.
The theme is community is how we get it done. And the artwork winner was just chosen, and we're going to announce that at tomorrow's meeting, and then we'll put out a little thing on the Facebook page and send it out to everybody.
All right.
Okay?
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else for items not on the agenda who failed to sign up at the beginning of the meeting? Now's your opportunity to step forward. Anyone online? Seeing none. Moving on to items on the agenda. I believe Miss Tiffany has already left. Is there anyone in the gallery for items on the agenda that failed to sign up at the beginning of the meeting? Seeing none. Anyone online? All right. At this time, I'm asking that the workshop, item E this evening on resolution number 750, the fee schedule, be removed. We are not ready. We're still having discussion on that and thought that we would have an opportunity to discuss that this evening, but we are not ready. So we would like to remove that, and we will bring that back to you at a later date. At this time, we are onto the agenda itself.
Motion to approve agenda?
Second to move and remove action item E, or workshop item E.
Motion by Councilmember Dowdy, seconded by Councilmember Burke to remove item E, which is our workshop. Ms. Dowdy, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Or should, okay. Please take roll.
Councilmember Alderman,
Present.
No, aye.
Aye.
Aye or nay? Sorry.
Councilmember
Easier
Hall,
this time.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. It's all right, Mr. Alderman. We've all done it. It's
Yes,
fine.
we
It's your
have.
first day. We're going to go easy on you. We expect you to be perfect next meeting.
You're asking a lot.
Not- moving on to reports of standing committee, Human Resources.
Okay, so tonight we elected a chair. I will be the new chair, and we welcomed Mr. Alderman to our committee as well. So now we're full. We have Mr. Hall and Mr. Alderman and myself. We today swore in Officer Alex Olson for the police staffing. He was a lateral transfer. Also, Officer Alec Nelson just finished at the academy, and so that leaves us one opening. And we have held an interview for that position, and we are going into the background check portion. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly, and we may have a full roster soon. So that would be super exciting. We are starting to discuss our upcoming Woodland Police Association negotiations. So that's going to be next up on the plate for the next few months.
All right, thank you. And finance.
We did not have a meeting. Mrs. Anderson is out of town, and I think at one point we had thought maybe we would meet later in the month, but now I'm not so sure. I don't know. To be determined.
TBD. All right. All right, thank you. Reports of City Council.
Well, I'd like to mention I had an opportunity because I had a concern about my water bill, so I stopped off at Public Works Friday and met with Kathy, and she walked me through the bills, how to read them, and very knowledgeable and helpful. And I think it was worth, if anybody has any problems with the bills, before you start complaining, go to Public Works and they'll help you out. They did a great job.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Mrs. Dowdy.
I'd just like to say that I'm really pleased with the turnout that we had for both of our open vacancies, and I just want to thank everybody that applied and that went through the interview process. That I was just very pleasantly surprised with how many people came out and went through the process, and those of you that went through it twice, kudos to you guys for standing up and taking time out of your schedule to try to give back to our community. Thank you.
Agree.
Mr. Hall.
Yeah, I'd like to just report that I had an opportunity to, as a newbie, I got to visit the community development with Mr. Goddard and his staff, and to meet the folks there. I was really impressed with, and I think all of you would be impressed with the amount of how do I say this? Digitation. Anyway, digitizing all of the information and putting it online. What is in our website now in the last year, just in the last year, is stunning. It is a tremendous step forward. And I think people should avail yourself of that website. There is a ton of stuff there to find out, and things we can learn. It's been a great effort, and I really was impressed with what I saw. And I appreciate the time and the staff. It's a good job.
I appreciate that, Mr. Hall. That's been something we've been working towards for since I've been here. We have some talented folks on our staff that have been making it happen. So very pleased with that. Thank you for those
Brought
comments.
us into this century.
Yes, we're trying and allowing our community to access everything that we have. We'll get there. We're almost done, but we're almost there.
A lot better than believe in Facebook.
Yeah. Did you have something, Mrs.
I
Holland?
did. I just wanted to share that last Monday, our newest Congresswoman, Marie Glusenkamp Perez, stopped by the Woodland Action Center and got a tour and an info dump on everything, every challenge that every Woodlander has, everything from lack of housing to taxes to traffic to everything. She got a little mix when she came in. She didn't just get things that are impacting our clients and how the organization operates, and really nice lady. I can honestly say in the 7 years I volunteered at the Action Center outside of the mayor and me, obviously, she is the only elected person that's ever stepped foot in the building in the last 7 years. So I was impressed that she took the time out of her day to stop, and she really listened and had a lot of really good questions about things going on in our town, and so yeah, that was a really good opportunity, and I'm excited. Just there you go.
Thank you. Mrs. Rounds.
The chamber had her up at the golf course last week, and Mr. Hall and myself attended that meeting up there, and it was good to hear what she had to say, and a lot of good questions were asked of her.
Good.
So
Woodland's putting the pressure on her, I'll tell you what. So, we put the pressure on Jamie too, but, we're going in strong on this one. Just let her know that we're here. We're not gonna ease her in, we're a fire hose. Mr. Smith?
Thank you. My other day job, I attended a safety conference in Oregon, and it was a really good event. And I would encourage our city staff to send some folks to that event next year. It's around this time next year again. I took a lot of training courses as far as my job is concerned with electrical. One of the big things they talked about was the Cascades subduction earthquake and the ramifications of that, and how the Pacific Northwest is grossly underprepared for that. They say FEMA recommends about 3 days of supplies. The speaker that came and talked at that conference, he said that's not enough for this area. He is recommending at least 2 weeks supplies because of the infrastructure we do have is going to crumble. We will have no airports to be able to drop supplies to us if that earthquake hits. I work at PDX. I know they are in the process of trying to get the infrastructure upgraded to allow a runway to handle that type of earthquake. Right now, it is not set up for that. So every bit of our supplies will be coming from the east side of the state. So I don't know what our city has set up, but I would encourage our city to maybe set supplies up, because anything we can do to encourage citizens to prepare, I think would alleviate us having to supply stuff during a crisis like that. Thank you.
We do work closely with Department of Emergency Management at the county level, so we're well aware of our challenges, and in fact we had a discussion about it last week about possibly upgrading to an EOC of some sort for the South County in a location that the police and fire and everyone else has the opportunity to get to that's at a higher ground. So it is part of our vision and on our work list.
One thing they did say is the speaker came in and he said they have pinpointed the date of the last time that we had a major earthquake, and it was about 324 years ago, and they happen about every 350. So in the next 25 years, it is a definite possibility is what so
Wow.
if you are not prepared, I suggest you prepare.
Well, meeting adjourned, might as well, why are we here? Jeez. Wow, thank you, Mr. Smith, I think. So, did you get that? We want a tighter timeline than we talked about last week. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you. And with that, maybe some happiness will come forward. Where, Mrs. Miller, are you here? How do you follow that?
Thanks, Monty.
Good luck. Chamber of Commerce.
Whew. I have pretty colored flyers. I mean, that's happy at least. Okay. As Councilmember Rounds mentioned, we did have Congresswoman Glusenkamp Perez up at the golf course. It was nice to see. It was a nice casual conversation. It wasn't stuffy. It was literally we set her up on a chair up high. And it was kind of a conversation, like living room style. It was nice. It was nice to see them come out and actually want to have a conversation, then stop it with an action afterwards, and so it was a good time. So Visitor Center, our Visitor Center numbers continue to currently be down. We're so excited Lake Shore's open. Literally, I probably could have danced on the road last week. Yay! I actually really wanted to longboard down it because it's so smooth right now, but I refrained from doing that because I'm old now. So we do have a new employee. His name is Sawyer. He's a young gentleman. He is learning as fast as he can with limited visitors, as you can imagine. Imagine trying to train a server when you don't have people coming in to eat at a restaurant. Similar situation. So the poor kid, he welcomes people in, and then I instantly run up. I'm like, and awkwardly wait for someone to ask a question and help him. And he's doing great. We're looking at hiring another high school student actually to work our weekends, because our current weekend employee will be exiting here soon,
And so that we'll continue being fully staffed with the road open, the sun's shining, things are gonna be glorious. We're gonna be, our parking lot's gonna be overflowing soon. So let's see here, other things with the chamber. So our speakers for the next 5 meetings are listed on the website, and they're also on our e-blast, so take a look. There's a lot of really interesting ones coming up. Tomorrow is Joy with Umpqua Bank. I have to get used to that now. It's not Columbia, it's now Umpqua
Did it
Bank.
make the transition?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't know
yes.
that.
So today was the first day. I forgot my password. So that was fun. I figured that out though, but I got that done. So they started transitioning last week. And a lot of their stuff actually went on hold last Friday and then went live today. So if you see her, give her a pat on the back, because system implementations can be a beast. I've done a couple, so. Reminder, our meetings are weekly, Tuesday at noon at the Oak Tree. Our legislative calls are also on Tuesdays at 7:30 via Zoom. And we have 2 hour after hours planned, Lineage Logistics on April 20th. And then we have Scott Hill Park on May 18th. I can look at the same person for those. We also are hosting the Princesses upcoming soon, as well as a lot of people mentioned about the Cardi Hill thing. The chamber did write a letter against it and did put it to our Cowlitz County Commissioners, as well as the Clark County side, and even more. So the chamber's with you. I'm also with you because I'm also Clark County side. New exciting things that we're doing over the chamber is, have you ever heard of testimonies, like cool things you see on like websites? You're like, the chamber helped me. The chamber's important to me. So do you want a free drink from Red Leaf? Yeah.
Wait, are we supposed to? Yes.
So it is 1 per member. So the city is 1 member. So one of you can apply. So whoever gets it in there first. There's a QR code, and you essentially just fill out a little form. Please be aware that you will, it will be used on our website and for marketing. So please don't be shy if we end up using it, because we probably will. And then you'll get a Red Leaf drink card. You do have to come to a meeting to pick up your drink card, though. The other fun thing we're doing.
I'll send the chief.
I see him about weekly anyways. Okay, so the other cool thing we're doing is something called Member Day. So we really appreciate all of our members, and so come have pizza on us on April 25th at noon at Pizza Factory. It's where the old Giuliano's was. Lunch is on us, and you get to pick up a little member swag bag. It's gonna have it's gonna have a window decal. Yeah, we're doing decals. It's cool decals instead of little stickers, other little swaggy cool things. And we're gonna also be introducing like a member drive and a couple other things. And so if somebody walks in the door and they're not a member, they wanna join, we will have our card reader there. We will take your money right then and there and become a member, and then we'll also give you a little baggie. So other than that, I mean, I could tell you who the meetings are upcoming. If you're curious, we have Joy this week. Cody with Miller's Gold is next week. The following week is Travis with the city. And then we have the Planners Day Princesses, and then Ann Lucas with Red Leaf. So we have a couple more too, but I won't talk at you.
Did I sign up for a day?
Yes, you did.
What day was that?
It's May.
Oh, May what? I don't know if I'll be mobile yet.
Well, so that was the thing you told me was May. Sorry, I feel like I'm not talking to them.
There you go.
Sorry, guys, you guys can't hear me. Not that I don't
I said
talk.
the end of May, didn't I?
I think so.
I did. I think I should be fine. Okay.
Well then, when did you say? I can find it and I'll tell you.
Okay.
May 9th.
I may need a ride.
May
I'll call
you
for
have
medical
4 wheels. How many wheels you got out there? You got
Yeah.
wheels?
I'll just scoot on down. Yes.
Literally. Scoot
Thank
on
you.
down.
Thank you for the update. Is the May 18th going to be at the park
Yes.
itself? Okay.
It will
Gotcha.
be.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep, it's gonna be fun.
Happy. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Moving on to my report this evening. I have an opportunity, because we're in 2 counties, because we're in Clark and Cowlitz County, I get the opportunity to meet with mayors from both Clark and Cowlitz. So this last week I met with the chief. Graciously picked me up from my home and picked me up out of my door and carried me down the steps. Thank you. I know, you're welcome. That's why he's walking funny. So thank you. He's actually carded me around twice, even today. Came and got me to swear in our new police officer. So I really appreciate you taking care of me. Thank you very much, because I can't drive. But we had lunch last week up at the corner store. The chiefs came, Mr. Boyce was there, and we had some really great conversation with the Cowlitz mayors. We always learn a lot from each other. We're continuing those on a monthly basis, and I had dinner with the Clark County ones here at the beginning of the month out in Richfield. So that was, we do things differently in Cowlitz County than they do in Clark with certain things, and it's puzzling to me because it seems so easy with some of the things that we do and the relationships we have up at the county, and yet they're struggling with their folks of trying to get funding. So, and with that, I am going to call you out, Commissioner Dahl. Thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate you, and it's nice to see that you're engaging with us this evening, so I really appreciate that. And since you're here, I'll give you a thank you to your face-to-face for helping us with the funding with Exit 21, a water line to help us with our economic development out into the Bottoms area, and also coming to the table and trying to work out a plan for planning for our future together. So if you could take that back with you, we really do appreciate your partnership and our collaboration as we try to move our communities forward. We both represent different areas, but we still have the same goal in mind, which is to have a beautiful community. So we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate everything that you've given to us. So thank you very much. Have the COG meeting on Thursday. Clearly I'll be online. So we'll have some more information on that at the next meeting. As Mrs. Miller stated, the Lakeshore is open. I felt like I was in an episode of Cars out there, even though I wasn't driving. You know, when Lightning McQueen, he paves the road at Radiator Springs, and then he goes out there and everybody starts driving and having a party. I felt like that's where we were. So I'm excited to see the 10-foot pedestrian path put in. That's going to be exciting. I did stop and speak to some of the workers that were out there. Again, the chief was taking me around town, showing me all the corners of the city. I was just checking on some things. And he hopes that the sidewalk will be done this week, so that's exciting. We're working on a number of things to include Exit 21 submittal, I think I've already told you, through the Congresswoman's office, and so please, if you have an opportunity, please call her office and ask her to support our application for a RAISE grant to help us fix Exit 21. Like I said, learning through a fire hose. We were kind with Jamie. We invited her, and we go to lunch or have coffee, but with the new Congresswoman, we are just saying we don't have time for coffee. We need to work. So please take the opportunity to call her office and let her know how important it is that we get Exit 21 fixed. And with that, consent item C this evening, which is the appointment of Miss Donna Butler to the Salary Commission. That would give us 3 folks. I highly encourage you to accept that nomination and appoint her. And then we can officially have a meeting. So we appreciate you putting your name into the hat and for consideration, and I ask that council support that. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Boyce.
Okay, so I wanted to remind all city councilors and the mayor that the Public Disclosure Commission, it's time to file your F1 form. So we do have new members, so I will, I need to speak into the mic. I will make sure you have the information so everyone has that taken care of. And I believe April 1st is the date it's due. So I will be in touch.
I believe it's the 15th. It's still a short deadline.
Is it the 15th? I'm sorry.
But I want to say it's about the 15th-ish.
Okay.
I did mine.
Okay, and Councilmember Hall brought up the discussion he had with Travis. It's part of, you know, when we have new city council members come on, we try to give them a tour of the city, which means you get together with department directors and talk about what they do. Public Works can be a little more fun than the others because you get to go to different facilities and see how water works and sewer. But we always like to remind city council members, you know, even those who have been around for a while, you know, it's good to come back out again every now and then and take a look. So if anyone's wanting to take a look at something, please let me know. Also, the HR committee mentioned that we're looking at starting negotiations with the police guild again. Their contract expires at the end of this year, so we will be taking that on. And I think I'll leave it there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Boyce. This evening, Ms. Coleman has a presentation for you regarding Public Works projects and a grant update to let you know what's been going on and how things are going over in Public Works. So, Ms. Coleman, I'm going to turn it over to you, and please speak into the mic. Thank you. You all have a packet on your desk in front of you.
Okay, so basically my presentation is, it's going to be short and sweet for the first 7 slides. No, it's going to be long for the first 7 slides and short and sweet for the next 30 slides. So it's long, but it's short, if that makes any sense. So
Are you trying to beat Mr. Goddard's time?
no, absolutely
Okay,
not.
I'm just 10 minutes.
So, but what I wanted to do is, I've been listening this year to a lot of the citizens that have come into the meetings, and I have some concern, and some of that concern is that I think people forget where we were and where we're going and what's happened. So I'm presenting some photos here because a lot of the questions get asked, where's my money go? Where's my money go? And before COVID hit, and I hate it when everybody uses that, but really truly before COVID hit, I used to give presentations monthly with slideshows of where all the money's going and everything, and then we stopped. We stopped doing that because we didn't have meetings in person. You couldn't see slideshows, getting everything set up. So I thought, I'm gonna give a brief overview of some of the things that I think people forget about that we've done in the past few years, and kind of where we were and where we're going. And so I'm hoping, because we have new council members, I apologize to the council members who have been here for...
Recording stopped.
Sorry.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm done.
And that's
Recording in progress.
There we go. Sorry, somebody was chatting. I was just trying to see what the comment was. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
We're back in business.
So, yeah,
Apologize.
so what I wanted to say is that for those council members who have been here and have sat through my project presentations in the past, I apologize for that. But sometimes it's good just to refresh our memory of what we've done and what's happened in the city, especially when I hear comments that the city's going to pot, and I think, oh my goodness, let's see what's gone on in the past 5 years and what happened 10 years prior to that, and then tell me really if the city's going to pot. Because I believe that the city is making leaps and bounds forward, and we're doing the absolute best with the taxpayer dollars that we have. And I hope to show a small glimpse of that in this presentation tonight. So with that, before we move to the next slide, I wanted to say too that we are updating our park plan, and so on our city website, which has graciously been updated, there is a surveyor. Mr. Goddard's department has worked for us to get a survey out there, and I would ask that you all go onto the website and take the park plan survey. It talks about your local parks here in the city. It talks about how you utilize them, what you'd like to see. It has open comment in there. So when we update the park plan, we incorporate all of that in there for your use here as a city, at the city. And then I wanted to say thank you for the 2 comments that I've received in regards to Lakeshore Drive. I received, I don't know how many complaints, but heaven forbid when it's up and open, you see people driving down it, but nobody says, thank you very much for the smooth road. So I thank you for those who made mention of that tonight. I appreciate it, because it is a chore, and sometimes you get the complaints of the construction period. We know when we work in construction, but you never get the compliment afterwards of saying how nice it looks. And thank you very much for making my drive home a lot smoother and not hitting potholes, which we're trying to do here in the city. So,
and I would like to comment, there's a lot of work that was done in the road that no one can see,
yeah,
which is helping out a number
drainage alone that wasn't there before, and making it level. So anyway,
and the water and sewer capacity that we're going to be able to take on from our other residents that aren't, they're part of the city but not taking advantage of some of our utilities.
Right. Yeah, that we're gonna recoup, and that's on the agenda tonight. To recoup some of those costs for our utility payers. So that's some of the things that we want to look at and bring back into our utility system. So with that said, I'll go to the very first slide. Okay, so people say, where's our money go? Well, we've presented it. Everything's on the website. All our capital projects, all our small projects, the budget, everything is on our website where your money's being spent. What I've presented here is a small portion of what we've done since 2018. It doesn't include any of the regular maintenance. It includes emergency repairs and projects. So as you can see, since 2018 to 2022, I show on here that we've spent $3.37 million in our road projects. Now, of this, something that wasn't included that I realized after I'd completed the presentation is I didn't include some of the roads that we chip sealed, which were CC Street, 2nd Avenue, and Lake Avenue. I have a couple pictures of those in here. That was another $112,000, and then all the striping, your road striping alone, that's $50,000. So we're at $3.5 million. Again, this isn't any regular maintenance. So we start with 2018, and again, when I started late 2017, October, the budget was already established, so 2018 I kind of worked with what I had. But then if you look at that, you have $29,000 that we kind of were working with, and I'm like, yeah, that isn't going to work. So you'll see as we go further when we talk about grants how we're increasing. But as you see in 2019, we spent $300,000. 2020 about another $300,000. 2021 nearly $1 million, and now we're at $1.7 million for our streets. So we're moving and shaking on our streets, and you're starting to see the results around town of the roads that we've done. So, and this is all available on the website, and all these projects are available on the website. But I just want you guys to know what that money's being spent on. The next slide. Right here in our water from 2018 to 2022, we've spent nearly $5 million. With that, 2018, again, limited budget, we spent about $19,000. Then we go into 2019, we're nearly at $1 million. 2020, $500,000. 2021, $670,000. 2022, $2.7 million. So, and I'll show you some of the projects as we go, and we have some photos of it. But we're doing, the big things are, we totally upgraded our water treatment plant HVAC system and all electrical upgrades in our water plant. We did the Scott Hill booster pump station, which has been in the works for a number of years. We did the water filter #1 media restoration project, and those are big ticket items. Those are your $800, $200, $150,000+. So anyway, our $750,000, because some of them are spread out over the years. You don't get it all done in 1 year. You spend part of it 1 year and part of it the next year. So, where's my money going? Well, there's $5 million right there, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the daily operation and maintenance or any of the staff salary, any regular maintenance, any of your chemicals or anything like that. These are just on projects, and we have emergency line repairs in there as well. Next slide. In sewer, we spent $1.4 million over the past 5 years. In 2018, $31,000. In 2019, $540,000. 2020, $416,000. 2021, $220,000, and then 2022, $210,000, $212,000. So at $1.4 million. The big ones, the big projects in there, we did a concrete pad. We have bins for our sludge tanks, so we had to put a concrete pad because it was tearing up our asphalt. Well, they were too heavy for the asphalt. We did Lift Station 5 upgrade. That was about $500,000. And then we also have Lift Station 8 that we're doing this year. We're just finished with the engineering. It's out to bid right now. That's going to be another $500,000 plus. We had our Headworks screen project, which is about $100,000. So those are your big ticket items that are in there. It's actually, the Headworks is $200,000. So sorry about that. So that's where your sewer money's being spent. And that's why we're also able, when we did the rate study, to not increase the sewer rates as much as we had to increase the water rates, because we were on schedule with the amount of money that we have in reserves in our sewer. And so with the amount of reserves that we have and the amount of revenue that we're bringing in, we're able to keep up with our projects that are in our capital plan, in our sewer plan, which is also all listed on the website. Everything is on the website that I'm sharing with you. So if we look at the spending, the amount of revenue that the city brings in, generates from utility rates, and the amount of money that we have available to us in funding for our streets that come from taxpayer dollars. It comes from taxpayers, but it comes from Pete.
Yes. So it comes from gas tax monies. It comes from, in the past, we transferred property tax, sales tax to the fund. So
Right. So with that, we don't have enough money to do all the streets. We have 26 miles of streets, and we have a list that we just completed our street inventory last year. So we don't have the revenue to do all of our streets, but we're plunking away. Every year we do more and more streets, and you can see that when I showed you that first slide of how much money we're spending in streets. So with that being said, you know, we rely on grants. We rely heavily on grants. So since 2018, these are the amount of grants that the city has brought in that we have completed. As you can see, our total project cost is $2.36 million, and the city only contributed 7.5% of their funds to these projects. So we completed $2.4 million of projects for $176,000. So when people say, "Oh, where's my money go?" Well, a lot of your money isn't going out there for this. This is being grant money that's being brought in, and so we're taking that $170,000 of revenue that we pull out of water, sewer, or whatever, and we're adding 93% more to it. So that's what we've done to date. If you look at the next page, that was the first when we first started doing this. Right now, we're in progress of spending $8.7 million. So these are all grants that are received that we're working on right now. So of that, we have, of the $8.7 million, $450,000 of money that you guys have paid into the system through your utilities and through the general fund for the streets and taxes. $450,000 is what we're spending out of $8.7 million in projects. So that's 5.2% of your guys' dollars going to $8.7 million of projects. So when I get complaints about Lakeshore Drive, and I get complaints about having the road closed, and I get complaints, I get frustrated because I think of all the amount of time and money that we're putting into the city for people to complain that we've brought into the city for a couple months of inconvenience. Because really, I mean, that's so much money that's been brought into the city, and I want people to appreciate it, that we're taking 5% of your money and turning that around. So this is all on the website. I want you to be aware of it. The ones that are down below that show received and working on, they're in process. So the first line items up there that says in process, those are ones that we're actually working on. The next section, those are ones that we've applied for grants. We've received some matching funds, but we don't have the final numbers for those projects yet, so we're still working on those. But we actually have received the dollars, and the dollars have been committed for those projects. We just don't have the final dollars to be determined yet. Did you have a question,
Mr. Smith?
Council member?
Who writes a lot of these grants?
It's a joint effort. So Public Works, sometimes we hire consultants to go out and write the grants as well. For instance, we applied for the RAISE grant for Exit 21 3 years in a row. We've hired a consultant. That is it's a 40-page process for writing grants, and it's cost us $40,000. So it's very detailed, and you're going for $20+ million.
Yeah.
That isn't on here that I'm showing. That's going to be in my next slide. But Public Works writes the majority of those.
I know, being on the Public Works Committee the last few years, I know you invest a lot of time on grant writing.
A lot of time. Thank you.
I know Public Works really appreciated it, but there's a lot of people who do not realize how much time you spent writing grants and how much you've brought in. So this is great to actually hear and actually see it on paper. A lot of the other things that aren't realized is we have to have grant matching funds. And if we don't have those funds, we will not get the grants. So you have to have the money in order to get those grants too.
Right. And I think something else to realize is that we're in hog heaven right now on receiving grant dollars. It's not going to last forever. They go in cycles. So if you as a city are receiving grant year after year after year, they put a halt to it, and we see that in our TIB grant funding. So I've applied for TIB grants, and as you know, Westcott's going to be closed off, and that is $3 million of grants from TIB. So even though I've applied for additional grants, we haven't received that. but it's because we already have $3 million that we still haven't spent. So they kind of go, well, hold off, city, we're going to hold off right now. Wait till you spend the money, and then we'll see you again in a couple of years. So we can't depend on the grants, but we want to get as many as we can. So we continue to write these grants and go for as much funding as we can get. But I've been turned down 3 years in a row for for Lewis River Road, for the sidewalks going Lewis River Road. The second round, we had people come out from WashDOT and visit and walk it. We thought, all right, we're on the alternate. And then we thought for sure we'd get it the third year, and nothing. And so it's very frustrating. And then South Pekin and North Pekin, we've applied 3 years for that. A gun club 3 years in a row, and we've gotten turned down. But we did get a sidewalk grant for gun club. So anyway, it's hit or miss, but we just keep plunking away and keep applying and try to put those dollars as far as we can, push your guys' tax dollars as far as we can as matching, so we can bring in larger projects for the city. So anyway, so that's on the grants in progress. So then if we go to the next page, we look at what we've applied for, or what we are applying for this year, which is another $30 million in grants. So, we're applying for Davidson, North Pekin. You can see all of them that we've applied there. The biggest chunk of this is a RAISE grant that we just applied for, and that's $24 million, which is the biggest chunk of this $30 million. So, just an FYI. Something else too, we received some news today that, I talked about going out for funding for USDA and Department of Health, and USDA offers loans for our water projects that we have that are all front loaded this year. And they did get back to me. I received an email today, and it stated that it's been finished underwriting. It looks good, that we will be eligible for the loan, so we can bring that to council when it comes forward and they give us the rate. But we're just waiting for a study to come back that was already completed, just for a final review of that. And then we'll decide at that time if they're going to be able to forgive any of the funds for that water loan. So for instance, if they give you $10 million, sometimes, don't get your hopes up, but sometimes they'll give you a 30% relief. So that could be $3 million of relief to a $10 million loan. So that would help with our utilities as well. But we don't know that at this time. We just know that they said that we went through the underwriting process, and that we are a candidate, and they're just waiting to give us the final letter. So, with that being said, you can look at just the last, what we're in now. We've received $11 million, and we've gone out for another $30 million. So I just want you guys to be aware of what we work on, and this is in addition to all the regular maintenance that we do every day to keep the water, the sewer, and the roads going. So it is frustrating, and I understand that, and I know it's inconvenient, but just hang on tight. We're trying to make some good changes within the city. When you have to be inconvenienced for a couple months, we apologize, but at the same time, I'm not apologizing, because it's a lot of money being brought in, and I think people need to be inconvenienced for the amount of money that's being brought in. So I'm going to just show some pictures of just some projects, because I know a lot of people haven't seen them. So I don't know if you remember, this was a grant. We went out for a grant for the community center. I don't know if any of you guys have visited the community center before and after, but it's night and day from when I came here. So before, it had stained carpet, sloping floors. It was smelled. It was horrible. We actually had rats and mice living under the building. So we totally remodeled it inside and out. And then the next picture is the outside. That's a before and after. So, I don't know how long that asbestos siding was on there, but that's been removed. We have a brand new siding, brand new roof. So it's just, those pictures don't do it justice. You got to go out there to it. But it's night and day. So again, when I hear people saying, oh, the city's going downhill, I'm like, how is it going downhill? Everything that we've done, we haven't done anything to decrease the value of the capital infrastructure of the city. Everything we've done is increase the value of the city and the capital infrastructure. So then we have our trucks. When I came in here, our trucks were from 1992. So every year we've been plunking away in a third. So You know, so we have a jet rotor truck. We don't have to go to the city of Vancouver, the city Kalama, to unplug a water main or a sewer main. A dump truck so we can, you know, spread sand and ice and rock and on the roads. I mean, simple things. Our dump truck caught fire. And so, you know, how do we, we need a dump truck, people. So anyway, so, you know, and the jet rotor truck is normally, you know, a $60,000 vehicle, and we were able to get it, a used one, and have a little bit of modification as far as some sanding and painting for $15,000. So yeah, we got it from the county. So those are things that we're doing. Now, the dump truck we did order new, but still, I mean, you know, we're plunking away at our vehicle inventory and trying to get our vehicles brought up to date. And I think if you look around town, you'll see that we have some newer vehicles, and we're holding some accountability for that too, and making sure those are maintained. Some things that you don't see, we work late at night. You know, this was the Hoffman Street repair that we did. We had a break in Hoffman Street, and you know, you're working late at night while people are sleeping to make sure that you try not to disrupt them, the city, the best you can. I mean, we're down in trenches 15 plus feet down in the ground. And then this was right there off of Atlantic. This was a water line break right there at Safeway. So we're working to repair that, as you know, so it doesn't flood the roads. So we were doing that as well. And this was where we had a hydrant hit on Hoffman Street right there across from the teriyaki place. And so it flooded the street. We had to shut down the street. And luckily, WashDOT came and helped us with that. The whole sidewalk, the whole underneath side of the sidewalk washed out and had a big hole. It was, I don't know how deep it was. It was at least 15 feet deep, but we had to block that off too. So those are after hours work too. And then we did a citywide inventory of all of our sidewalks within the city, the entire city. We walked all the sidewalks. We sent letters out. We worked with Travis's department, and we went through and all the tripping hazards throughout the city, because we had lawsuits that were coming to us, and we're like, well, wait a minute. We need to let people know that this is their responsibility, and we need to take care of our sidewalks in front of our parks, so on and so forth. So the amount of sidewalk repairs we've done in the last 5 years, I mean, is amazing. People don't realize it, but just go out and notice that all the new sidewalk, all the bright light gray concrete that's out there. It's kind of neat. I get excited about stuff like that. But anyway, Hoffman Street, you know, sidewalk grant, and then we did a replacement of 7 water line services when we put that sidewalk in. So if you walk down Hoffman Street, brand new sidewalk there. And this was Love Street. There was no sidewalk. We put a sidewalk in there. We finished the sidewalk downtown. Pacific and Washington sidewalks. We put brand new sidewalks on all along Pacific and Washington Street. I was driving down Pacific one day, and I saw somebody who was handicapped, and they couldn't get across the road because they had to go into a parking lot of one of the businesses and to come across, and then that's a really tight corner. That's right there by the Astro gas station. What's it called? Toads. Yeah, people call it Toads. So anyway, cars were turning like a bat out of hell coming around that corner, and I thought the person was going to get hit. So I'm like, okay, this has to change. So we put bollards there. We put ADA accessibility. We put striping in. So those sidewalks were done. And we did it on Atlantic, too. I don't know if you guys realize Atlantic sidewalks weren't all the way completed. So we did that. And this is Lake Avenue. This is one of our chip seal projects. You know, people complain that we chip seal, but we don't have the funding in our road fund. The Transportation Benefit District has been shot down in voting for 3 times in a row. So we're pulling our money from general funds. So we're doing the best we can with what we have. So this is a chip seal project that we did at Lake Avenue. And this was the Gorig overlay. If you know, year before last, I think, we did a grant for this, and we redid all of Gorig Street and all the ADA ramps down Gorig Street for ADA accessibility. Park Street, we put sidewalks in on Park Street. They didn't have sidewalks there before. This was kind of a neat. We received a grant from a I can't remember the name of the organization. Yeah. But we received a grant, and we actually were able to put a flagpole up at City Hall, which we're supposed to have. It's a requirement for the state. So we were able to do that. Arlene, I think, was the
Frank
name.
and Arlene Price.
Yeah, Frank and Arlene Price gave us grant dollars, so we bought the old flagpole from the post office, the historical post office downtown Woodland, and we put that up on City Hall. And then we also added a couple flagpoles too throughout the city and put some lights on some flagpoles in the city that weren't lit before. We put power at Horseshoe Lake Park, so now when we have vendors come in there and we hold events, we have power in the park. That was a grant that we did, and we put the power in ourselves to save some money and be able to do it with the grant dollars that we received. Water treatment plant upgrades, I've given you the list, so this is just some photos of some of the upgrades that we did with our bins, and we put some concrete in there for the bins because the bins are too heavy to move on asphalt. I kind of talked about that. And this is the UV lighting upgrade for killing the bacteria source in our biosolids. So that upgrade was completed at the wastewater plant. And then water treatment plant, we updated our SCADA system and controls. We actually put a generator. There was no generator at our water treatment plant before we came here, so we put a generator in there now. We put a new gated access. That was actually a requirement and mandatory that we're not supposed to allow any access into our water plant. So we actually have now a gated access to be able to go into our water plant. And then we put the new, like I said, Scott Hill booster pump. That's on that list of projects that we've done. That's our Scott Hill booster pump, the inside of it. And this is, we upgraded our HVAC system and our electrical at the plant. I think I have another picture of the generator there, but that was one of the upgrades that we did. If you toured the plant ahead of time, I think some of you have, it was horrible. It was very corrosive inside. The water was clean and the water was not contaminated, but you need to make sure that you maintain your building and the integrity of the building. And we didn't have an HVAC system to be able to properly circulate the air in their water, so you have all that moisture in there, and it was corroding everything, including our tanks. Pacific Avenue sidewalk project, that was completed. I think I already showed that one, didn't I? I was meant to put Atlantic in there. I apologize. West Scott catch basin repairs. We've been repairing catch basins all throughout town. This is just one of the repairs. 3rd and Dunham catch basin repair. Borders at Eagle Park, and the Port of Woodland gave us a grant, so we actually went in and we put in all new borders within the park to be able to maintain. We have to have engineered wood chips at all of our playgrounds, and then we also made our playgrounds ADA accessible, which they weren't before, and we put in ADA accessible swings at our playgrounds. That hasn't been done before. We put in a new memorial. If you remember, it used to be over at 100 Davidson, so we put in a brand new memorial, a sign and a flagpole right there at Hoffman Plaza. There was a memorial for Deputy Justin DeRozier. It's right out here. There was a tree planted on behalf of him, and then a memorial put in here for him. We put a new fence in behind City Hall. New benches at Horseshoe Lake Park. New signs at Horseshoe Lake Park. You can see the old signs and the old signs to the left, new signs to the right. Some more new signs. Those tell the rules, and then you can just see the old to the new to try to update it and make it look cleaner, refresh it. And then area lights out in the parking lot. There were no lighting out in the parking lot here, and so people would come here to the meetings and there was no lighting in the parking lot. We had a few, but they were HPS. We upgraded those to LED, and then we added more lights in the parking lot in the overflow. Horseshoe Lake Park, we put in sand. We put in sand almost every year. Every year we put in sand, and people just complain. We put sand in, truckloads and truckloads of sand. We have to get a permit to do it every single year, but we add sand to the park. Gorick Park, I don't know if you guys remember that. The park was closed because of homelessness and graffiti, and they closed it off to vehicles. We reopened the park. We revitalized the park. It's beautiful. It's a great park. Downtown, if you look, we decorate downtown. We have banners and flags and Christmas decorations, and I don't know if you guys came down there during Valentine's Day. It was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. We try to keep it quaint and just inviting for people to want to come downtown. And then we have our Hot Summer Nights movies in the park. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been there. That's something that we started too. So we had the Hot Summer Nights, but it used to be up at Hoffman Plaza. But when I came here, we said, okay, let's do movies in the park, and we bought a movie theater projection system, and we moved the bands down to the park. We started having vendors come down to the parks. It just started going, and all of a sudden, boom, COVID hits. But you know what? It's coming back. You wait this year. It's going to be huge. So anyway, we did that. Oh, you got to go again because the band will start playing. That's just some more of Hot Summer Nights and movies in the park. Some of the activities that we have going on. And then this is our Winterfest. I don't know if anybody's been there, but we host that with the Moose Lodge. So we host a Winterfest every year where we light up the tree, and that was actually, we put displays up when we had COVID, so because nobody was able to be together, so people could drive through the park and actually see the displays up to try to keep that going. And then, you know, that's a partnership that we did with Downtown Woodland Revitalization, where we put the poles up and the decorations going across the street. If you haven't been down there during wintertime, it's absolutely gorgeous. And then Make a Difference Day, we do that every year. That's where we go around and clean up all around downtown or help people within the community that need help, and like if they need shutters painted or debris removed or yard work done or blackberry bushes cleaned up or whatever, we help them with that. And then we did we didn't get invited to the last career fair, but the last one we got invited to, we did the career fair, and I was surprised at how many high schoolers came over and wanted to be part of Public Works. They didn't even know what it was, first of all, but to tell them what it really is: streets, water, sewer. It was kind of neat to see how many people were interested in that, and hand them out some applications for summer labor and summer help. And then obviously we do the parade. So, but I just wanted to say that you know, not all these are capital projects, but I think people complain and they don't stop and realize how good Woodland really is and how much change has been done. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. I haven't shown all the photos, but a lot has been happening here. And if you just go out and you walk around and you see the new sidewalks and the new streets and what's being done, and I think the water quality, I mean, I know it's not perfect, but it is improving, and we're working towards making our water better, smell, taste. I think it looks okay, not sight, but the smell of it, the taste of it, you know, you want people to be able to turn their faucet on, not feel like they have to have bottled water. So it's improving. It's a slow process, but don't get discouraged, because we're doing everything we can to limit the use of the tax dollars and try to take that burden off the taxpayers by going out for grants. But it's hard to hear complaints when you try to do the best you can for the city. So I just want people to know that we're not in here spending money nilly-willy. We're out there, we're trying to find funding, we're trying to make it better, and I hope that people appreciate what's being done. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Questions for Ms. Coleman?
Very good presentation.
Yeah, awesome job.
I do miss these presentations. COVID took them away, so thank you. And
I will be bringing them back. I've been just a little bit busy with the grant writing, but I'm going to hopefully take a break once we get some relief in sight with the USDA and the Department of Health funding that we've applied for, because that'll kind of get us down a smooth path where we can take a little break.
Yes, Mrs. Holland.
So I think sometimes people don't really see beyond their own neighborhoods. So unless they live in a neighborhood where you've upgraded the sidewalks, they don't realize that it's occurred. But I know just driving around town, like running over to Safeway, or like when I leave the Action Center on Saturdays, I always drive downtown. I always go down the middle because the lights are pretty and it's kind of nice. And I can say that as a longtime Woodlander, I feel like you have just as much pride in our town as we do. Like, you take a lot of pride in your work, and your team's amazing. But don't be discouraged. I mean, I don't have an opportunity to drive down Lakeshore often, but I get on the freeway, and Sunday I was like, hey, look at that. As I'm going down the freeway, it looked great, and I know people will really appreciate all of your hard work during Planners Day, when it really, that's your Super Bowl. So that'll be a good one, and I appreciate everything you do.
Well, and I didn't mean this to come across as, oh, woe's me, woe's Public
No,
Works. But I just want people to realize, when I hear people complaining and say that the town's going down in the dumps and what's happening to Will, I'm like, wow, look around, walk, you want to make it pedestrian friendly so people can get around, because, you want to be able to walk from one side of the town to the next. You want to be able to feel safe in your town. And that safety factor does come from being able to cross over a crosswalk, or know that you're not going to go on the side of a ditch because the road isn't finished. So that's what you want. You want people to feel safe, and it's not me. It's Public Works and the administrative staff and planning and all of us working together to make this happen, because you have to go in for permitting. You have to put stuff on the website. You have to get signatures from the mayor, and you have to get permission from the city administrator and signatures from him to make this all happen. So we're all working together to make this town a better place. And I just want people to know that we do have the best interests of the community financially and structurally in mind when we make these decisions.
And I know you said it takes signatures, but it also takes the seven members up here that allow us to do that. Allow you to do that, and allow the chief to do his job, and Travis to do his, and all of us. So, although it's great and it's wonderful, but it wouldn't have been able to be possible without all of you saying yes too, and holding us accountable and keeping us transparent. So, thank you, Ms. Coleman, for the presentation. I know that when you first came on, one of your biggest struggles was that street department and the lack of funding, and me not knowing, being new myself, only a couple of years. The fact that our entire street budget was spent on this road behind us for a paved job, and nothing else in the city was done that year. This was before you got here. And just seeing the improvement that has occurred, we appreciate you, and thank you very much for all your hard work and dedication. And as Ms. Holland said, it's obvious you take pride in our community, even though that you're not a long-time Woodlander. But we appreciate it, and I think a lot more see the difference than we know. So thank you. And with that, the time is now 8:26. We'll take a, how about, well, it's 8:27 now. How about we'll go to 8:35. We'll be in recess.
Recording stopped.
There you go.
a lot of.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and go back into session. At this time, we've come to consent items.
I move to approve the consent items.
Moved by Councilmember Burke, seconded by Councilmember Dowdy. Mrs. Hogan, will you please take the roll?
Can I ask a point of clarification?
Oh.
On one of the.
Mr. Hall?
On one of the vouchers, there's on page 10, I had a question on an item.
Okay. We're gonna pull it up here for you.
Page 10?
Page 10, yes.
It's entitled, and I just need to know what it is. It's entitled Candle Wreath. Is that?
Oh, candle wreaths.
Yes.
Candle wreaths? Yes. Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you drive downtown and you see during Christmas time, we have the candle wreaths that go on the decorative street lights. So all on Lakeshore Drive, we have all brand new decorative street lights going all the way from the Visitor Center, Gorig, and Lakeshore, all the way around to the park.
Yeah.
And so all those decorative street lights will have candle wreaths on them for.
Awesome. Okay,
yeah.
so that was a one-time
Yes,
acquisition.
sir. Yes, sir. And they were on sale for 40% off. So I
It's not
decided to
Christmas
buy
time
them
yet.
now. It wasn't Christmas in July, but it was close enough.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the consent items? Mrs. Hogan?
Councilmember Rounds,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Alderman.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to action items. Action items D, Resolution 762, Water Sewer Main Connection Fee Update Amendment of the Fee Resolution 730 and 732 to include a connection fee for connecting to the water and sewer mains in Lakeshore Drive.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 762, Water Sewer Main Connection Fee Update.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Hall. Councilmember Rounds.
I just have a question. How did we arrive at the $639, I believe it was?
Yes.
How did we arrive at that figure per connect?
So what we did is we looked at the total fees that it's costing us to go from the connection at Gorig Street all down Lakeshore, and we figured out what's that cost to put in the water and sewer on that road. And when you put the water and sewer in, you have some paving, a small strip of paving as well that would be included of that. We took that cost, we divided it by the total length of the road of what we're doing, and we said that's the cost per linear foot. So if you have 500 feet of frontage on Lakeshore, you're having that, because when you do a development, you're required to put in the water and sewer across the full frontage of it. So you would be required to pay back into the utility system for our water and sewer that we've spent out of our fees, out of our utility fees, back into that system for a connection fee.
Okay.
When you develop Lakeshore, we want to put the money back in for people. We don't want to do it for somebody. We want to have it available for somebody to develop, but we
Correct.
don't want to pay for that. We want them to pay us back and put that money back into the pot, and not to have the utility payers pay for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hall?
No.
No comment? Further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Hogan, will you please take the roll on action item D, Resolution 762, Water and Sewer Main Connection Fee Update.
Councilmember Dowdy,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall,
Aye.
Councilmember Alderman,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We've come to the end of our meeting.
Motion to end meeting.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Dowdy, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The time is 8:40. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. You're quick to
Recording
stop.
stopped.
Stop recording. Hold on one second here. Just need to make sure I've got this. Yes. Oh, where are you? Yes.
I've only been up since 1:30 this morning.
Scott.
Right?
Scott who?